No, sweetheart, you're not in trouble. Sometimes grown-ups make decisions that don't make sense. But why can't we play with Jake and Emma? Don't they want to play with us? How do you explain to a 4-year-old that her aunt is deemed or unworthy of attending family celebrations? How do you tell your toddler that his cousins get cake and presents while he gets to watch from a car window? I sat there watching my children's faces as they saw their cousins getting cake and presents and fun while they sat in a hot car being told they weren't welcome. That's when I decided things were going to change. But first, I had to endure the rest of the party aftermath. When Evelyn finally came outside to say goodbye, she looked exhausted and defeated. Her white dress was stained with various colors of frosting. Her hair was disheveled, and she had that frantic look of a parent who had completely lost control. Thanks for coming, she said, though we both knew I hadn't really come to anything. How was the party? I asked, genuinely curious to hear her perspective. Oh, you know how it is with kids, she said with a forced laugh. They get so excited. The energy was just a lot. I looked through her living room window at what looked like the aftermath of a tornado. Her couch was destroyed. There was food ground into her carpet and I could see chocolate handprints on her walls from where we were standing outside. Maybe next time it would be easier if there were more adults to help supervise, I suggested gently. Evelyn's face immediately hardened. The adults were supervising. It's just that kids will be kids, you know. I don't believe in stifling their natural exuberance. Natural exuberance. That's what she called Jake hitting other children and Emma throwing cake at people. Right, I said. Well, I should get these two home for their naps. As I was buckling my kids back into their car seats, Lily asked me again why they couldn't come inside. I gave her some vague answer about it being a small party, but I could see she wasn't buying it. She was getting old enough to understand that she was being excluded, and I could see it was starting to affect her self-esteem. That night after I put the kids to bed, I called my best friend Maria to vent about the situation. She did it again, I told her. Adults only party with kids running completely wild. And your kids had to sit in the car again for 20 minutes. Lily asked if she was in trouble. She's starting to think there's something wrong with her, that she's not good enough to play with her cousins. That's not okay, Maria said firmly. That's actually damaging to her self-esteem. You need to do something about this. But what can I do? Evelyn's not going to change. She's convinced her way is right. Then maybe it's time to show her what a real children's party looks like. That conversation planted the seed that would eventually grow into Lily's princess party. But it also made me realize that this wasn't just about birthday parties anymore. This was about my children learning that they matter, that they deserve to be included, that family means something more than conditional acceptance based on arbitrary rules. I started planning immediately. The first thing I did was document everything. I started keeping a journal of every interaction with Evelyn, every party, every exclusion. I wrote down dates, what happened, how my children reacted, and how it made me feel. I wasn't planning anything legal, but I wanted to have a clear record of the pattern of behavior in case anyone in the family questioned my eventual response. I also started talking to other family members more intentionally, not complaining or gossiping, but asking casual questions about the parties. How was Jake's party? Did the kids have fun at Emma's celebration? What I discovered was enlightening. Other family members had noticed the chaos, too, but no one wanted to say anything because Evelyn got defensive when criticized. My cousin Rachel, who had attended a few of the parties with her own children, confided in me during a family barbecue. I have to be honest, she said, looking around to make sure Evelyn wasn't within earshot. I've stopped bringing the kids to her parties. Last time, Jake bit my daughter when she didn't want to share her juice box. When I tried to address it, Evelyn said I was being too sensitive. He bit her. I was horrified. Drew blood. And Emma kicked my son in the shin when he accidentally stepped on her toy. But according to Evelyn, my kids were being aggressive for playing too close to her children. The more I talked to family members, the clearer the picture became. Evelyn's parties weren't just chaotic, they were genuinely problematic. Other parents were starting to avoid them. Siblings were finding excuses not to attend. And the only people who seemed to enjoy them were Evelyn and whatever wine mom friends she invited who thought destructive behavior was hilarious. My brother Mark, who lived across the country and only attended parties via video calls, told me he'd stopped joining the virtual celebrations because it was just too stressful to watch. Even through a screen, Jake and Emma's behavior was overwhelming. Armed with this information, I began my research into proper party planning. I wasn't just going to throw Lily a better party. I was going to throw her the gold standard of children's parties. I was going to show everyone, including Evelyn, what a kid's celebration could look like when planned by someone who actually cared about the children's experience. I spent hours reading child development articles about age-appropriate activities. I learned about attention spans, 20 to 30 minutes max for structured activities with 5-year-olds, group dynamics. Smaller groups are easier to manage and more fun for everyone, and behavioral expectations. Clear rules stated up front prevent most problems. I researched entertainment options and discovered that the key wasn't expensive performers or elaborate setups. It was having activities that engaged children's natural interests while providing structure. Kids want to feel special and included, not overwhelmed and overstimulated. I also looked into the psychology of party planning. Why do some children's parties end in tears and chaos while others leave everyone happy? The answer was surprisingly simple. Successful parties are planned with children's needs in mind, not adults' egos. Then I started saving. Every month I put aside a little money for my grocery budget, my coffee fund, even the money I usually spend on small treats for myself. I opened a separate savings account that I nicknamed Princess Fund and watched it grow slowly but steadily. I was going to throw Lily the most amazing princess party any 5-year-old had ever seen, and I was going to do it right. But saving wasn't enough. I also started practicing. I volunteered to help with parties at Lily's preschool, offering to lead activities and games. I wanted to make sure I knew